Forget to click that button and subscribe to my mom's channel.
Hey, what's up, you guys? It's your girl Denise, and I am back for another episode of Shae Chronicles. I think this is episode 7. You know, I'm almost losing track because I'm being consistent and shit. I'm so fucking proud of myself. But welcome. For those of you that are new to my podcast, hey girl, hey boo. I'm glad you're here, and you're very much so welcome. My podcast is kind of hard to categorize. I deal with a lot of mental wellness, self-care. I discuss a lot of my traumas from my past childhood, and I also like to talk about some of my triggers that I'm currently trying to get my life together with. Really, I'm just being a 36-year-old, soon to be 37-year-old, single mom, newly divorced, just moved out of my mother's home that passed away 4 or 5 years ago, and just trying to reevaluate life and find my purpose and be intentional. This podcast is really just my story, so I welcome you. I'm really just sharing my journey, and I hope you can get something from it. For those of you who have been here, I don't know, shifting gears. I know that we were working on my series, and I just finished my last series, Jesus Loves Me Part 1. And I know it ended on one of those dun 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 dun. But I got some other things that are imperative that I talk about and I work on. You know, life sometimes just gets in my way. And as always, I need to talk about it. So this week, I know I was supposed to start I Love You, Jesus. And I kind of feel like this is still starting that series, but like I said in the previous podcast, I think I'm just going to be more so in tune with the podcast. I'm going to still blog, but my focus is on this podcast. So what leads me to this weekend. One second. I'm sorry. I was very thirsty. First of all, my lovely kids, my son that is 12 and my son who is 4, just sang happy birthday to me with a motherfucking bomb-ass cake. It was a Snickers cake, and it was amazing. It was really sweet, but I mean, as far as taste, extremely sweet. But it was the first time that I didn't feel awkward celebrating my birthday. It sounds weird, but I'll get into that a little bit along down the line. So as far as you guys know, I moved out of my mom's house. I think it's just a little cricket. I moved out of my mom's house, and we sold it, and I moved into my own place. If you watched my previous podcast, you guys know the whole story with this place. It's a testimony in itself. Thank you, Jesus. I'm just so grateful. But I have to admit to myself, since I've been here, which probably has only been about a week, a week, maybe, yeah, a week. I feel at peace. I feel very stable. I feel like, you know, I felt like I was finally together. I was situated. But then I was just kind of like in this still motion. And I know most people would be like, well, girl, you got some peace. You're happy now. Now you can just focus on certain things. But for me, that also scared me. That silence was not putting me at peace. It was making me feel like I was in this stagnant place and I couldn't move. Yes, I have peace. But that's not where the game ends. You know, it's like, yeah, we all want this happy ending, but there's so much more to explore, you know. So now I feel like I just completed a level of my life. You know, I've closed a chapter. I've opened this new door. I'm here. And since I'm moving intentional, that is my entire goal moving forward. We are no longer just functioning. We are intentional in our movements, and we are going to make sure that, you know, I find a sustainable life that is constantly growing. I want to feel substance and just growth. I want to feel comfortable in just constant growth. I don't want to get comfortable in silence and just, you know what I mean? It's like, yes, I'm here and I've worked hard to get here, and the fruits of my labor is starting to, present themselves. But what else? I'm like, yes, if I can get here by doing that, let's go. But last week, I was losing my mojo. I kind of started feeling very complacent. And I started asking myself, what have I done differently? What am I missing from previous? How did I get myself out of that? And what can I use to move forward and continue to evolve? And then I realized with this move, it threw me off track where my daily routine was getting messed with. I wasn't able to keep up with my morning workouts, my morning meditation, that time to myself. I wasn't getting that because my focus was moving into this house. So I said, okay, no problem. Next week, I will get straight into working out. So this past week, every day I got up with Carter. We went to work out with my cousin. I was starting to feel like, okay, now my mind is getting clear. All of that boggled down, just traffic that was going on up here with the move is starting to settle. Okay, what's next? So after working out, typically what I'll do is come home. I become a teacher to Carter for about 2 to 3 hours, and then I take the time to start working on my businesses. So one of my baby businesses is Hood Intentions. I say baby because it's just under a year. I have a partner. We've been building this brand for quite some time. And I'm also building my second business, which is an independent business of accessories. I'm an extreme girly girl, and I like cute little headbands, finger rings, like little cute earrings, dainty necklaces, but I also like really cute and sexy pajamas. And what else do I have in there? Bathing suits. So I have a few things that I'm working on that will be coming, I'm dropping. But those are things that I've been working behind the scenes on, trying to evolve and develop. And when I moved into this house, I realized that, okay, I haven't had a lot of time to focus. So it's like I'm dibbling and dabbling in Hood Intentions. I'm dibbling and dabbling in my accessory line, and obviously the podcast and writing. So I say all that because it brings me to the solution that I feel that God has placed on my heart. And before I moved, my brother Andre was reading the Hustle Harder, Hustle Smarter by 50, Curtis Jackson. And I know this book has been out for a while, probably over a year maybe, but I hadn't had a chance to read it. And reading was always a part of my self-care. I remember I used to read a lot when I was younger, especially as a teenager. Books were my friends. I didn't go out much. And when I did, it was after that whole situation with pretty much rebellion. That's when I was actually sneaking out and trying to make friends. But before that, books were my friend. I love to read and write. And with all my trauma, I lost a lot of that. And I believe being in this new place is a place to regroup and refresh. And I believe God put me in a peaceful environment so that I can be more aware of what's going on. Previously in my old house, there was just so much always going on, and my focus was on strictly taking care of everyone else. I no longer have that. I no longer hold that over myself anymore. My job is to take care of myself and my 2 children. And being in this home was the first time that I solely depended on myself. And, I was able to really get in this place, and we're here. Now that we're here, I can't stop there. I have to find ways to continue to evolve. So I need to go back to my roots. Now that I have this piece, I need to focus on my roots. I know that writing is something that is going to prosper for me. This podcast, I truly believe in my heart that this is going to prosper for me. But I needed guidance. And one thing for sure is when you're going through the journey of healing and growth, you start to we got a lot of relationships, and not in a negative way. You know, I have people that are still my friend, but I just don't talk to them every day. Only because our lanes are just different. We're in two different places in our lives. I love you. I'm there for you. If you call me, I might call you. We can go to dinner, all of that. But on a day-to-day contact, it wasn't beneficial for me. And I found that God has really put me in a place of, I have to be comfortable with accepting that. I have to be okay with this. I have to be okay with the idea that the people that are really genuinely here for me and love me and want the best for me understand, and they won't take offense to that. And I think I've grown so much in that area. You know, a lot of times I would focus on their feelings and not mine, and I'm not there anymore. I'm definitely trying to focus on myself. I say trying because I am not the expert in this field. I'm still very much a baby in caring for myself appropriately. I'm still learning. And I think this weekend, or this coming week with my birthday coming up, I'm feeling a little, I don't even know if I feel anything. I don't want to turn 37 and not have a plan. That worries me the most. I need to have a plan. I want to not be in the same place I was when I turned 36. And it's really important to me that this time around, I'm really prospering and I'm doing different things. Like, I'm elevating. 37, I'm like, damn, I'm almost 40. And when I become 40, it is mandatory that I am like a bad one. You know what I mean? Like, I'm running shit. Mandatory. And, you know, my clock is ticking. 3 years. Okay, let's see what I can make happen. So back to this book. In the start of reading this book, I've been following 50 on Instagram for as long as I've known. I like 50 because he's always was true to himself. And I've admired that. My thing was, all the negativity that's always surrounded by him, that never fazed me. I was just more so like, wow, man, how powerful is that? To not really give a shit because you're just being yourself. You're being who you really are. And you're either going to be accepting of that or not. Now, as much as negative press sometimes 50 gets, the man has over, 20 million followers? Like, get out of here. All from being himself. So when I started to read the book, the first thing that struck my mind was the tone. As a writer, I don't always get attached to books. I can start reading it and have a really difficult time, like, getting into it because of the tone of the writer. And that's okay. I don't think every reader connects with every author. This book was as if obviously we all know 50's distinctive voice. And I can, like, you know, reading it, I'm like, it's as if he's talking to me. And I like that. That's my style of writing. So I was instantly drawn in. But most importantly, it was the way it was so raw. It was just like in your face. Like, I'm just going to tell you what I know and how I know, and I'm going to say it to you as it is, in my language. And his language was relatable to me. One of the things that I found to really make me say, I gotta hurry up and finish this book because this book is going to be the kickstart to my new journey, was he had principles that he lived by. And I'm gonna read them off to you guys, but there's one in particular that made me feel, that really, like, was a gut punch for me. Like, damn, you need to get this shit together. So the principles are: be fearless. I'm getting there. Cultivate the heart of the hustler. Definitely there. I'm ready. I'm hungry. I'm passionate. Build a strong crew. Just like I was saying a few minutes ago, I'm losing people and I'm gaining people. So I can see that God is decreasing my circle, but strengthening my circle and increasing the support in another aspect. We'll get back to that. Know your value. Struggled with that, but I am getting there by leaving my mom's home and focusing on me and my kids and understanding that my health and my success is valuable and it's important. My words, my voice, all of that matters. Evolve or die. What? Y'all heard it. Shape perception. I thought that was a very intriguing. You guys need to read this book, but shape perception. I always speak about this. I am terrified of social media, and with me having this podcast, me being intentional is so important. I want people to see me as I am. You know, I don't want to give you a perception. I want to give you the perception of who I am, which is what I'm giving you. So, hold on. Don't be afraid to compete. I struggle with that. Something I'm working on. Learn from your losses. That's always been something that I have never struggled with. I'm always a learner. I'm always trying to figure things out. I ask a lot of questions because I know that I am not the expert in everything. So I always approach a situation as a student. And avoid the entitlement trap. Honey, when I read the avoid the entitlement trap, it was just like, wow. You don't ever want to see yourself as entitled. But when I started to think about all the ideas and all of my aspirations that I have desired and wanted for myself, I also see that throughout the years that I struggled with being envious. You know, sometimes when you're looking on the outside in and you see someone else doing something that you want to do, I used to be so envious of other people. And I felt entitled, like that should be me. That's my idea. That's my vision. I'm better at that. And it was just like this sense of entitlement. And when I read that in this book, I was just like, I got a lot of fucking nerve. You know what I mean? Like, why do you feel entitled to something that you have not even stepped a foot forward to accomplish? You know what I mean? Like, I get angry and frustrated sometimes because I want just financial stability and I just want everything to happen and fall into place. And then I start to think like, you're not even ready. Your mind not right. You know, are you even focused? Are you seriously focused on it? How many hours of the day are you giving to this dream of yours? And we're not talking about just sitting around brainstorming. How many hours of the day are you actually at your computer, applying for grants, finding internships, writing your blog, doing your podcast, educating yourself on how to edit these videos faster? Like, what are you doing to really put forth the effort? And I started to notice, like, I'm not even really going as hard as I should. You guys, I got all of that just in the introduction. And the introduction was only about, I don't know, 4 or 5 pages. I went on to read throughout pretty much half of the book. I'm almost done with it. And it's just so much value in this book. I can't wait to finish it and really be able to give you guys a thorough review of it. But I literally am halfway through this book, and I've only been reading it for maybe 2 to 3 days. I probably could have finished it in a day, but I had a lot of shit going on per the usual. But I have to say, for someone who has really come to a place in her life that I'm just trying to identify these things about myself and really educate myself on how to be better. This being the first book I'm going to say that I actually picked up and read. There's so many books I have on my Amazon audio that I've purchased and I've started. But this is the first book that actually really kept my attention. And I'm not to say that other books weren't providing me information that I didn't need, but this book gave me something I needed right now. I needed it. I needed to hear his words. I needed him to explain to me, like, sit down and have a pep talk with me. Another thing in the book 50 talked about is he doesn't drink or smoke. Now, that part of the book I felt was the most impactful because it made me realize some things about myself that I think I may have been in denial about. So there's a part in the book that pretty much says, you know, in the music industry, a lot of times everyone smokes weed and they feel like that's their way to be able to be very creative. It brings out their creativity. And I related to that. I was just like, well, yeah, you know, anytime that I really want to get in a creative element, the first thing I do is always like take a toke. Because I just want to really be in that higher realm and really be able to connect. And for a long time now, I've always been like, well, I can quit anytime. I just don't want to because I don't feel like it's harmful. I don't think it's harming anything. But as I continue to read the book, 50 said something that I was just like, you get on my fucking nerves. Like, he said, you have to ask yourself, if it really is your talent and it really is your gift, you should be able to tap into that with a sober mind. And you should be even greater in that sober mind. You shouldn't need an enhancement to get there. And I recall myself, I want to say in a podcast or possibly even in my blog, saying that I felt more creative when I was high. I smoked some weed. And I think that just really stuck with me. I'm not a big drinker. So that drinking is just like, you know, whatever. But the stress, the anxiety, and just really wanting to make sure that I'm doing my best, I guess I can say, I don't know, like that, it doesn't make any sense now because reading this book, I'm like, fuck, I should not need an enhancement to use a God-given talent. It should just be there. And I want to do that. I want to do that. Now, although I read 50's words and I'm like, you know, Denise, you should set a goal for yourself to try not to smoke a whole 30 days and just really bring out your creativity and see the different changes and just make sure that in your mind that you can still be great without it. Because there is some doubt. I'm not going to lie. There is some doubt and it makes me wonder, okay, so is this an addiction or is this a crutch or is this just something for sport? I don't know, but it's time to figure it out. So as I continue to read on, I got some more gems. And you guys, I think I'm going to continue to kind of give you guys updates until I finish it, which I'm sure I'm going to finish this by tomorrow. So on my next blog, I'll finish this up. But moving on from this, you guys need to read this. This is a really, really good book. If you are in transition and really are trying to build something and you need a little bit of motivation, but you also just need like almost some gems, like you just need some advice. You just want to hear somebody that's in the game. This is really good. I'm enjoying it. So I'm going to just say that and I'm going to leave that here. But I do want to continue to touch on, you know, Mary and Jane because this right here, honey, has me just kind of like, man, I'm trying to face truths in my life and I want to move intentionally. So I have to be honest with myself at all times. So I'm stuck here. I'm like, okay, I'm going to start on March 1st. And from the whole month of March, I will not be drinking, smoking. I'm actually going to do a cleanse, continue to do cleanses, because now I just feel like my mentality has to change overall, right? If I'm really trying to gain mental clarity and really try to focus on myself and really be in tune with myself, it goes beyond just what I'm speaking to myself, you know, what I'm reading and taking in. It also now, and I'm starting to realize, is it needs to become a lifestyle change. Like, I'm not the healthiest eater, but it's something that I really need to start considering. And, you know, even with the weed now, do I absolutely need this in my life? I mean, how is this benefiting me? Now, I'm not against it, but again, where I'm at, I got to start focusing, and I have to make sure that everything's intentional. So, of course, you know, I kind of battled with that whole conversation, maybe for an hour. Then I smoked and moved on to something else. But then later in the day, I get on Instagram. And you know the hood healer, y'all already know. And if you don't know, y'all need to go to her OnlyFans and subscribe. And let me tell you, she don't need me advocating for her, honey, because she is just so the bomb. I personally can't afford to subscribe, but it definitely is in my budget for when I make a certain bracket. And I'm getting there. And that would be one of the first things I subscribe before HBO, before Stars, before anything. I'm going to subscribe to her. But she did a reading for all the signs, and it was such a blessing, because her readings now are only through her site. And just to be able to receive this information, oh my gosh. First of all, she was really mad at us Pisces, and she really cussed us out. She cussed us out. And I need to be spoken to like that sometimes for me to even take you seriously. I'm fucking around. But I mean, for real, like, I like hard love. Like, I want you to just be real with me and just give it to me straight. You don't ever need to sugarcoat it. Just tell me what it is so I can deal with it. And pretty much one thing that struck me is the first thing she said on her feed was, she was just loving on herself freely and really in abundance of it. One second. Sorry, y'all. You can tell she was just in a different place, and she was telling her story of how she just came up and how things been progressing, but she put in the work, and she was okay with this conversation. She was okay with the confidence, and pretty much it was just like, that's how I want to feel. I want to be freed of giving a fuck, because I don't want to. I just want to be in a happy place, knowing that my intentions are well and not everyone is going to receive me. And the first thing she says is, I no longer smoke weed. I was like, God, if you really trying to give me confirmation, I heard your ass, okay? I was already about to start March 1st, but it was just like, oh my God. And then she went on to say, why are you sitting up here acting like you don't know what to do? What's going on? Why aren't you moving forward? Why aren't you focused? Get it together, Pisces. Stop playing. We got good things to do. We have greatness to do. It is your time to receive. Let's go. So it was just like, so here I got 50 over here talking about man up, boss up, be smart. And then I got sister over here like pop, 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 pop. It was coming from both directions. And it took a lot of energy, because I received everything that was spoken to me, and I believe that that message was sent intentionally. I opened the door. I asked to be released of this chapter in my life, to be freed from it. I asked for more doors to be open. I'm here. I'm in that space right here, right now. And the first thing was, I was stagnant. Like, I was just kind of like finally still, and I didn't know how to just sit in that. I needed God to speak to me. I needed some type of confirmation of my next step. And this all happened this past weekend. You know, let me tell you, I think now that I'm more conscious of, myself, and I'm actually in a space where I'm open to receiving, feedback. Because before, you couldn't tell me nothing about myself. You couldn't. And now it's like I can receive that. God is working on me. I'm working on me. And this is going to be a very, I don't want to say lonely, but it is, because I have to be able to be okay and be comfortable in a space where you have to be able to trust yourself. And obviously, I have a lot of baggage when it comes to relationships, and I'm learning to be open to friendships and receive friendships. And I'm trying my best to really figure out what it is that I can really contribute to this world. After all of this information came in, I think what I gained from it was it's okay to not know your next move, not know the next step, but you do have to find a focus. So even though you might have no idea what to do next, you know what you want to do. You know what you desire to do. So what I did was I decided on Sunday, I really want to start taking the method of on Sunday we rest as a rest day. This entire reading the book and confirmation from the Hood Healer and making major changes and challenging myself made me realize that I really do have to find a focus and really buckle down on it. So I wrote down a few things that I wanted to accomplish. I had about maybe 5 things. And then I started to take those 5 things on my list, and I decided to write little sub things of what would it take to get this done? Like, what do I need to do to accomplish this? And I wrote that down for each one. And then when I looked at the 5 things, I took the one with the least amount of legwork just to start with. Because at least I know that I'm able to cross this box off, because it only requires 2 steps. And the other ones are 4 or 5 and, 6 steps or whatever it was. But the point was for me to still just make some moves. I don't want to find myself on Tuesday, my birthday, still being the same Denise last year. When my kids sang happy birthday to me, I loved it. I felt grateful. But the reason why I felt so uncomfortable was because I'm not where I want to be. And then I had to realize that my kids were singing happy birthday to me in our brand new home, on my brand new table that I've been eyeing for maybe a year. Well, not a year, maybe 6 months. Okay. And recessed lighting, which is something I always wanted in my house. And it was just us with not a care in the world. And they sang happy birthday to me. And I received it because although I'm not exactly where I want to be, I'm making progress. I've made the necessary changes, and I'm continuing to make the necessary changes. And I was grateful. I was. And when I look on their faces, they love me. I see more, and I see clearer now. And it's those moments at that dinner table singing happy birthday that I felt accomplished. I can't remember the last time. Actually, I take that back. The last time we sang happy birthday, we were in my mom's kitchen, and my brother and everybody sang happy birthday to me. But they didn't even know that I was dying inside. I was putting on that smile and receiving their kindness, but I was not in a good place mentally, emotionally. Today, just 2 people singing happy birthday to me, I was just like, yeah, okay, it's just us, and I'm okay with that. Well, I don't really have nothing else to say, you guys, but I do know that this podcast is working. For me, at least. I mean, I see you guys over there viewing. Some comment, some of you guys like them, and I appreciate you guys so much. It's not easy getting on this camera, telling all my business and talking shit about myself. But I'm happy to be here. Let's just keep doing this. Let's keep getting to know each other. Let's keep having these conversations, and let's keep making change and being better people. We all have the ability to be great. This world makes you think that you don't have it in you, but you are more than your environment. You are more than what people are telling you. You are everything that you say you are. Because you said so. Bye, guys.